welcome back to Business Today.
Show number 20.
Last week, Anne-Marie talked about insightful thinking, Helena talked about actions to create luck, and Andrew discussed your reputation for success. This week, Anne-Marie continues with insightful thinking. Royal Colt Cinemas joins us, and collaboration in business with Andrew.
Well, welcome back to Business Today TV, and it is, wow, I can't believe show number 20, Gerard. It is just flown by.
It is amazing, the guest speakers we had, the information we had, the feedback we had. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. One of our guest speakers is right up front talking about collaborations.
And especially in the environment we're in today, the business world changed, the economy changed. We have to look at our business in a different way.
So here he is, Mr. Andrew Ford. Competition. But the other side of the coin, people are saying that you become successful when you collaborate with other people. And I was wondering on your take on this, and as Ford and Doonan collaborated along the way with other businesses, how have you done it?
Well, I must admit, we haven't really collaborated much with our direct competitors, I think would be fair to say. We seem to all run our own race and quite fiercely competitive against each other. But definitely where we've collaborated, and more so in the last few years, is with our suppliers in a much deeper relationship. Example I give, one of our suppliers who supplies all the componentry, the duct, the grills and that sort of thing, they now handle all our logistics. So instead of us warehousing the air conditioning units and sending it to them, and then them having to send it to site, we now get the containers delivered straight to them. They handle the logistics and then pick and then deliver to site for us, therefore taking a huge burden and cost out of our business. And they do it better than us because that's their core business, logistics, where it's not our core business, we're contractors.
Yeah. Well, one thing I've noticed with having relationships and actually working inside of Ford and doing it actually from an outsider's point of view, you know, working on different projects with you, it's how you're collaborating with like builders. So what I found interesting was the builder's obviously got an agenda. He sells the house, and you're part of the whole process. There's lots of moving parts in a house being built. Now I won't mention the builder. You can if you want. But I said to him, "How do you deal with problems when that occur with air conditioning and come up?" And he went, "We don't have any."
That's the answer I like to hear.
And I'm going, "Oh," and he went, "No, I don't worry about it. I don't have any." And I'm wondering how you've managed to work in with them so well.
I think empathy again comes into it here. Is, as you said, they're building a house with a lot of bits, and we're just one of those myriad of suppliers. They don't want our problem to become their problem, so we just try to shield them from them in any way we can, unless it just needs to be escalated. So we just won't say there's a problem, and we'll just make whatever we have to do to make it right again before they even become aware of it. Right. So I think that's what they want out of a supplier, is a seamless supplier that can just do what they're paid to do without making a big fuss.
You know, when you're looking at that, I'm just looking at other people looking and going, oh, how do I get to understand somebody? Because they've got a customer who's obviously got some expectations from that initial sale, like with a builder, and then you're expected to fulfill an expectation that may have been told to them from a third party. How do you get that relationship so everyone's on the same page, I suppose?
Yeah, obviously time helps a lot as you get to know them and work with them longer. But again, once you've done successfully with one client, one builder, you know that all their business models are virtually identical, give or take some small changes. So once you've done it, you can then even bring advice to them on how they can run their business in the air conditioning component of their business more streamlinedly with what you've learnt from a previous supplier, and then sort of replicate that. And that's what they appreciate, is if you can save them time and money. That's what they're all about.
So is your advice to like businesses today that want to collaborate with other ones, do it with one first, get all your ducks in a row, or sort of all your dots and I's, is it dotting I's and crossing T's?
Yep.
And then what you're saying, the way you've become successful, is not even going to somebody else and say, oh look, we can do your air conditioning. You've actually gone to them and goes, we can do, and these are
Yep.
a system that'll make it run really smooth for you.
Correct. Almost point out what we believe and pretty well know will be their pain points, and just demonstrate how we've already overcome that with a previous client. And then the case, obviously price is always important, but the price becomes not about who's the cheapest then, it's about, okay, you might be a little bit more, but you're going to save me this on the other hand, therefore the total value you're delivering to me is superior to my existing supplier.
So when you collaborate now, Ford and Doonan's attitude is, we'll educate our partner, as it were, so the whole relationship both benefit from it.
Absolutely, and a great example of that is the way we offer training to their staff, like the draftsmen that draw up the plans and they make provision for the air conditioning, but they don't really know what they're provisioning for, like the dimensions of the ductwork, for example. So we made standard drawings and we trained all the drafting teams of our various key clients, even bringing in pieces of duct and saying, this is how big, on a drawing it looks, just run it down there. So it's a line or a squiggle or a font. But when you actually, they were just like, whoa, now I know what you mean. So it's actually a matter of training. So we train their drafting teams and we train their contract administrators, or CAs as they're known, to educate them, so when clients ask them questions about air conditioning, they don't just look at them blank-faced, they can answer the basic questions without having to revert back to us. So inadvertently that saves us those silly questions where we just train the CAs and the drafties that say it makes the job so much more efficient if they provisioned it properly. Now they understand what they're really dealing with.
Wow, some great advice there if you're looking at setting up collaborations to grow your business. I think some great tips in there, Andrew. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Michael.
Wow, there we are. Andrew, he has got such good information. It's just, the contribution he makes to the show is just absolutely incredible.
And he is so generous with his information and his knowledge. I really enjoy listening to Andrew.
It does make a difference when you're listening to successful people. Our next guest, because we get out and about and we're able to join Scott Rogan with Rogue Home Cinemas. And these are, these are incredible cinemas. But Gerard, the one thing when you listen to his story, how he's constantly trying to exceed his client expectations. This is something you're very passionate about.
Because when you do that, is that people will talk about you, and then you don't compete against price anymore. You're in a different level doing your business. So that's so important. Just exceed that expectation.
And when you say different level, here he is, Scott Rogan, at a totally different level with Rogue Home Cinemas. Enjoy.
Hey guys, Scott here from Rogue Home Cinemas. Just going to take off to another project. We're going to review a new MyMax cinema we've just recently completed, 95% of the way there. Really keen to show you guys. So let's check it out. See how it goes. We're in a suburb just out of Perth. Pretty unassuming home, and inside lurks a massive MyMax custom cinema. So let's check it out. Going big means going big on the candy bar and the wine. Yes, this room was really exciting from the get-go. I could tell in the first conversation with the family, particularly Stuart, sort of what vision that they had for the room and how passionate they were to really create something unique. So those first few conversations and meetings were definitely exciting, and we didn't quite know exactly where it was going to lead, either of us. But of course it's that journey of discovery and really just sort of educating and understanding what's available and what they had in mind. So this space, it was important to actually, they've got quite a large family still at home. They're a family of 5 and they really do love to entertain. They've got a lot of extended family nearby. So we needed to have those extra seats, and we're lucky because the room sort of just fit that 2 rows of seats without too much compromise, and we've got a lot of great seats in the house now. So the design aesthetic was really important. And we obviously really love to design based on performance, which is a darker room, so when the video is on, it's the main focus, but there's plenty of ways we can add some fun into this space. And when we're looking at the screen, it means the back wall is never in view and is never a distraction, and colour and some real wow factor when walking into the room was really important. So we got that for the back artwork, because the door does enter towards more the front. So in fact you can see this artwork as you walk down the hallway at the home, which I love that, because it's like, what is in there? And then of course the LED, the colour lighting can just really highlight the features and add a whole mystique to the room. So the lighting was another really big aspect to this space, and we've managed to find a lot of new tricky little ways of putting lights in, which have absolutely paid off. A lot of work, there's a lot of channels, there's like 40 channels of individual lights, and the end result's just phenomenal. So the performance aspects of the rooms, really important. Obviously the client wants maximal value for money, and they want to, when they're putting in good dollars, they want a return. Though ourselves as designers and calibrators, we can see what performance is there. We know what we're missing out on if it's not. So it's really about pushing and squeezing to a level which even maybe the client doesn't even know it's possible. So we've been really striving hard and working with particularly the projection manufacturer, Barco. It's a whole new technology, it's laser projection, it's a new chipset, it's even new for the manufacturer. So we're working with those guys with calibration and various software. So that was a bit of a challenge, and we've actually got some new exciting software around the corner where even those guys are hitting new limits, and this room's gonna step up another level again. Obviously movies have always been about the big screen. That's how it all started, and nothing has changed. So we wanted to get a seriously big immersive screen to suit both rows, not just the front row. It still needed to be big for the back row as well. So we needed to explore where and how we could install the projector, because often a projector in the same room simply isn't going to have the right lens throw distances to suit that audience space or viewing distance. So we've actually installed the projector behind the room, above the room behind us, in the roof space, and we've had to then design a projection box and a cooling system to bring cool air from this room into the projection box, and a fan system to exhaust again. So it's really quite complex, having to design a completely dust and cool airflow environment for the projector. That was tough, but totally worth the effort, because we've got a massive 3.3 meter wide screen now in a room inside 5 meters of length, and well worth it.
Well, what do you think of that cinema?
Different.
It's certainly different. He is exceptional. Look, if you're looking to get a home cinema done, look up Scott. Rogue Home Cinemas, absolutely fantastic. I think his cinemas are called My Mac Cinemas. But talking about looking things up, you've been out and about again with your famous question. We started 1 Minute Millionaire, which was just millionaire strategies given in 60-second bites. So you get one strategy every 60 seconds. And then you went, I know what I'm going to ask these millionaires their answer to these questions and only give them 60 seconds.
Well, the question we asked this week is, what is the biggest help or advice you have gotten from somebody when you started your business?
The biggest help was from my mentor, and also from my clients who gave me tough times, because only through that I had to just every time go back to my mentor and find out, okay, how I'm going to deal with this, and just help me to grow and learn more.
The most help, gee, I've received so much help over the years. To pick one, I think the bit of advice would be more what I've noticed about these mentoral people in my business life is the way that, is a famous saying, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. And I think that's what I've learnt the most out of that.
Wow, there we are. I love that 60-second question, Gerard.
I think if we like it or not, we need help from the outside. When you're in your business, sometimes you get so boxed in, and when somebody else looks at your business or you get advice, don't take it personal. Somebody might just see something that they might help you to think differently. And just, I always say, is that 1% or that one change you make that million for you.
It's interesting saying think differently. The next guest, Anne-Marie, all the way in South Africa. And this is part 2 of her insightful thinking. Talk about think differently, Gerard.
Enjoy.
So all of us have to solve problems all the time. whether you are a parent, I think more so parents, when you're a business owner, there's just constantly problems that you need to think about and that needs answers. And it is so that we are in such busy times. There's such a demand on our time, whether it is communicating with clients, whether it is communicating with your team, whether it is just keeping your business afloat. There's a lot of noise going on the outside. And then amidst all of that, there are these problems or challenges that needs attention. But it's very difficult for our brains to get to a solution when we are in the middle of so much noise. So what we need to do is to take a step back and get a little bit of distance from ourselves and from the problem. And it's often when you do get that distance from the problem that on the way back home in the car or having a shower, you remember, oh man, his name is John, or I should have thought of that. Why didn't I think of that? And it's exactly for that reason. It's when you have a little bit of distance from the actual problem in that specific time that your brain gives you the answer. So when you look at neuroscience and what happens in the brain, we tend to solve problems the way that we used to solve problems. We use our old ways of thinking to solve problems because that's the wiring. That's a highway now. Your way of thinking is a highway. The wiring is a highway in your brain. And we have a specific way of thinking, and through that specific way of thinking, we have a specific set of assumptions. And with that set of assumptions, we push alternatives out, literally. So there's no new space. We activate a specific map, and this is how we're going to solve the problem, and there's just no space for anything new. And that's why it's so important for us, two things. In order to solve problems, firstly, is to have someone to challenge your set of assumptions and to challenge your way of thinking. And secondly, quiet time, downtime, that you get some distance between yourself and your thinking. We tend to think we need to work harder at a problem and we need to think harder to solve this problem, to get to a solution. But that's very often not the case. Very often it means close all the files on your computer, close all the files, get some distance, and the answer will come to you. And this is the way our brains have been designed. So when, as a leader or as a business owner, when you do have to solve a problem, what I could recommend that's really crucial is to get a thinking partner. That person can be a mentor, it could be a coach, it could just be a very good friend that you have a lot of respect for, and that you will listen to what that person has to say. But a thinking partnership really means that your thinking gets a bit of airtime. You get to put your thinking out there, and in that thinking partner, your assumptions can be challenged so that it can open up new pathways for alternatives and new ways of thinking, which is very hard to get to when it's only you by yourself. Also important, as I've mentioned, is to take some time off, to go and play that game of golf, to go and have a coffee with a friend. It is good to, in that moment that you feel it's just overwhelmed, it's just too much, get a little bit of distance. When you get to the team, for example, it is excellent coaching, because coaching will also give your team members that clarity of distance. As soon as you are standing outside the problem and you're not one with the problem, you are more objective. And that person will be able to teach your team how to think about problems in a different way. If you, for example, look at Google, One way that they do it that is very well known, the way that they're having fun. I mean, their whole setup, their whole environment is set up to have fun. And as soon as you do have fun, your thinking is also more creative. And it really shows in how they go about, and with the amazing thinking that Google comes up, the amazing ideas that they come up with. This is a good example of how fun in your environment can also influence the actual outcome. It is true that an aware mind is also a disciplined mind. And a mind that's not aware and that's not disciplined, you get controlled by it. You don't control that mind. That mind controls you. It's literally like a monkey that's tied to a pole. It's just so busy and it's up and down and it keeps you busy, but not really with the stuff that you want to be busy with. A mind that's aware and that's disciplined and that's quiet, you can control, and you can have, in other words, access to alternatives and to more insightful thinking. And as soon as we do have access to more insightful thinking, our quality of work will also improve. So the real key sits in getting clarity of distance, either through a coach or a thinking partnership, or taking time out. It doesn't mean that you're lazy or that you can't handle difficult thinking or solving a problem. It just means that you are intelligent in the way that you're trying to solve a specific problem.
Well, there, Anne-Marie, I tell you what, that thinking really does make you think.
I think today's show is all about being different, think different, step outside your comfort zones. It's all about doing things differently, because if we keep on doing what we're doing, nothing will change in our business.
No. And I think Helly is our next guest, and she really does sum it up, because a lot of people say, well, you were just lucky, and oh, you got a lucky break. And Helly is, over the last couple of weeks, has been talking about creating your own luck. And she's saying, if you want to create more luck, this week she's talking about step outside of your comfort zone. What do you think of this?
That's the only way that you will become exceptional as well. Like, you know, when we spoke to our other guest today, become exceptional with the film cinema.
Yeah.
This is one of the ways of stepping out and being exceptional.
Here she is, Helia Singh. Well, we're back with Helia Singh, wealth coach. Your YouTube channel is doing absolutely fantastic. Great content on there, Helia. Congratulations. I believe you're been doing it for 1 year already.
That's right, Michael. It's exciting. I started June 2019. Wow. And now it's June 2020.
How fast time flies.
Yeah.
I was listening to the Luck Factor, and I've listened to your other shows you've done, and I guess there's people out there that may look at stepping out of their comfort zones and stepping into YouTube, and one thing, some people have a victim mentality. I can't do this because it's a horrible word, that because. And I listened to your talk, and you're saying that you don't give up and you don't have a victim mentality. Can you talk us through how someone who might just feel a bit that way can get past it?
Well, Michael, I wasn't like this always. So it's not that somebody cannot say that, well, okay, you're born like this, so that's why this is who you are. I used to think that I'm a victim. Well, I'm born in a family that wasn't my choice. I mean, we all are. And well, the country that I was born, and most of all, I'm born as a girl in a country who doesn't respect women. So I mean, how much more unlucky someone can get? But it was only my decision when I was thinking about that. I can be like this, think like this for the rest of my life, and be a victim and always blame because of who I am, or I can do something about it. I have two options. So then that's why, you know, I prefer to the other option, because imagining that one day, if I'm lucky to live long enough and age 60, 70, whatever, and then look back and said, I lived 70 years as a victim, to me that was really not me. So, and I just thought, nah, If I've given this life, it's a privilege that every day we wake up and we are still alive. So that means there must be something I can do about it, and that's why I decided to do that. So that's why I believe everybody should look at this to say, for those who think of victim mentality, look at themselves as when they were old, and what they want that old person of themselves telling them now of what to do, what life lesson wanted to listen.
You gave a key strategy, and it really struck me. You said that all successful people do this, and I was reflecting through my mind and going, yeah, you're right. Everyone I know does this. And you said meditation's a key, but you gave a couple of examples of different types of medications.
Yes.
Meditation, sorry.
Yeah, look, of course, I mean, look, we have a traditional meditation that people sit there and saying those specific words, like saying Om or whatever words that resonate with them, and in a very quiet room. Personally, it's just so much noise happening in my mind that I can never be sitting in a room quiet for 20 minutes or 10 minutes. My mind was just, just wandering around all the time. That's why I never enjoyed meditation, even though I've been told that it is okay, it's normal, stick with it, which I'm sure for many people work. But only when I learned the guided meditation, it means listening to not the music, but somebody that tells me what to think. Now imagine this, and going through the step, and depends on what is it about. Like one day I will pick about confidence. One day I'll pick about self-worth. One day I'm thinking about that, okay, how to speak to my children, and or what's the definition of love. All these different topics, and I listen to the guided meditation on that to make my brain focus on that particular, of course, topic. But at the same time, I use the emotional freedom technique, which is a tapping. While I'm listening, I do the tapping around these meridian points, and that just really calm me down and put me in that zone when it comes to that topic.
It's really interesting listening to you then, and it reminds me of, you made a very succinct comment on your latest video there, and you said, don't miss the best parts of your life.
That's right, yes, that's right. Personally, I missed many years. That's why I'm definitely determined not to miss any more of that.
Well, hell yeah. Well, again, some great guests on the show really do give you some great information.
Well, there's definitely something from somebody you can take today and implement in your business. And remember, if you don't implement, nothing will happen in your business.
Absolutely. And talking about implementation, we've had a few people actually contact us about, what's the value of video? They see us with, getting so many views, and they'd say, look, because someone said about they'll create some videos for a YouTube channel. And we're saying, look, if someone's going to say, let's create videos for your YouTube channel, let's create a podcast for you, before you go anywhere, you've got to see, well, what are they doing? I always say, have a look at what are they doing. I've looked at a couple of these people, they've had like 20, 30 subscribers. They got 4 videos on there.
And they teach somebody else how to do it.
They got an online radio station with no listeners, and they want to put you on there. Have a look at that. If you want to have a look, we're only small in the global scale, but if you have a look at 101 Media Group TV, and you have a look at that YouTube channel, I think we're just over 15,000 subscribers. We've had shows with 60-something thousand views on. These are the stats you really need to look at. We've got a radio station with 3.8 million listeners worldwide. So when we create podcasts, we create them to be listened to, and when we create videos, we create them to be watched. And I think if I can give a hint to anybody that wants to create, you can do it on your phone, by the way. I think the starting point is, we always say, what is it you want to be famous for?
And a lot of people don't know. They just want to compete against somebody else.
Yes.
And you need to be famous for something.
You really do. And it doesn't have to be all world consuming. It could be. I remember Walt Disney. And I think what was his, and this is, so you better correct me if I don't get it quite right, put your comments underneath. But I think he said, clean, something about the windows all clean, no chip paint, and all the fairground rides work. Because he was sick of going to amusement arcades, and there were chip paint everywhere, dirty windows, and some of the rides weren't working. That's what he wanted to be famous for. Now, that's not groundbreaking in my mind, but it set a whole new standard.
But he also communicated it with people, so people were looking at it and say, well, there is no chips, there is no this, the lines are working.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you want to be famous for? And I think, you know, we spoke to a lovely lady, I'm not going to mention her name because I don't have permission, but she's talking about resumes, and we said, what do you want to be famous for? She goes, getting people the job. And it was like, hold on, that's totally different than just writing a resume that gets you the interview. Because a lot of people say, my resume will get you the interview. She went, I want to get you the job. Well, that, if that's what you want to be famous for, that now starts showing the strategies. People say, well, how do I develop strategies? That's how you develop your strategies, how you're going to deliver that.
But again, it didn't only came naturally for her, it's after discussion. You know, and it clicked and said, but that's what I want. So sometimes you know what you want, but you can't put it in words.
Very good point.
Yeah.
So I must admit, you know, I'm going to do a bit of a plug for One-on-One Media Group. You want to get some videos done, also podcast, come and deal with us, because we won't just make the video. You'll actually get a business consulting session first on what you're going to be famous for, how we can articulate that best so people watching resonate with it, link to it, and actually want to contact you, want to do business with you. That's what I guess that's our point of difference.
Exactly, but also now you have content.
Yes.
Because a lot of people got all these ideas and they've got a business, but they don't have content. By having your videos, you have content, and you know all the different social platforms.
Yep, absolutely. So we want to get you more customers. So basically when we do videos for you, or audios for you, well, we do both. So we do the video for you, but we do a business consult. You know, what is it you want to be famous for? You know, how are you going to behave? What are some of the strategies you can put in place? How do you actually construct a video that people will watch and listen and then engage with you? Because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. And then you take those videos, we take the audios off, then we transcribe, so you're getting all these pieces, and then we show you the marketing. And we actually teach you how you can do it yourself, so you don't have to keep spending money, because you can do this stuff on these phones these days. They're so good. You just need a bit of practice.
You can, but it's really important to speak to somebody, because, for example, if you just copy somebody and try to do your own, it's not going to work. You can't just look at somebody and copy them and say, well, it's working for them, it's going to work for me. You need to speak to us, that we can help you to get that views, to get traction, and get noticed.
Absolutely. So if you're interested in that, the link's underneath. Just send us an email to admin@worthingtonstoop.com. Our email's just under there.
Info at worthingtonstoop.com.
This is what you got when you go live. Thanks for correcting me. Right. Info, and the link's underneath anyway. Click that and come on through. Hey, it doesn't cost anything for a chat. We really hope you've enjoyed the show. I got heaps out of today.
Plenty out of today.
Absolutely fantastic. So till next time, it's a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.